a list.
Are now asserting there is no there there. Many of them were the ones ginning up the controversy before President Trump was reelected and while they were in office. The Justice Department memo, first obtained by Axios, also comes 1 month after the billionaire Tesla founder took to his platform X as his alliance with President Trump dissolved. Quote, time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason why they have not been made public.
Bro, this was one of Elon's top 5 best crash outs. The fact that he went and just said this, oh my God. It's a peak one. I think this might be the best one. No. The best one so far.
Public, unquote. Musk deleted that post 2 days later, but the new memo has Musk posting this meme, among others. It's a guy putting on progressively more clown makeup with the text, we will release the Epstein list. We just need more time.
Dude, you're explaining the clown meme to your CNN boomer audience. Oh my fucking God, this is amazing. Wow, bro, we are the mainstream now.
The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list with full clown regalia.
Full clown regalia.
Art refers to a February clip. The list is on my desk. A February clip from Fox.
Like when you hear that word, like that's like it's in like a fucking it's in like Skyrim or something. Regalia.
Played of Pam Bondi. Take a listen.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
But here was Attorney General Bondi earlier today.
I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Trump was asked about the memo today.
Well, that's what you meant. That's just not what you said.
By a New York Post reporter, and he expressed indignation.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Mr. President, the reason people are talking about this guy is because people serving in the highest levels of your administration.
Because he was your guy. He was your guy for 15 years. That's interesting. Huh.
Have been talking about this guy for years and talking about how the Epstein list needs to be released. Here's then Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance in October 2024.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism, is the way that I put it.
What do you mean by that?
But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Here's Kash Patel.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Oh, on a podcast just over a year before he became FBI director.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
Dan Bongino, a former Secret Service.
It's like, can Kash Patel, can these guys just come out and say like, yeah, I was just bullshitting. I didn't really know what I was talking about, but I thought that there was going to be a big list, and whenever we looked into it, it turns out that there wasn't. Like, at least if you said, like, I was just bullshitting, I would be like, okay. You're probably lying, but at least you're being honest about lying in a way, right? Like so they all lied? Yeah, basically. So there are two universes that we live in. They're either pedophiles protecting pedophiles, or they're liars who are lying about lying.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Okay. Great choices.
I never wanted to be Iron Man.
Or both.
But it worked out for everybody.
Service agent turned right-wing podcaster is now the FBI deputy director. Here he is on his show in February. He was named deputy director just a few weeks later.
We probably just saw this.
I'm not ever going to let this story go because of what I heard from a source about Bill Clinton on a plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not letting it go ever.
You see, like, I've learned this myself, and like Dan should know this.
I'm not taking it seriously.
You should know that people are gonna bring this up if something happens in the future.
Strong.
You should preemptively know this. You shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't have said.
Bill Clinton's spokesperson released a statement.
You didn't have to say
this. The former president, quote, knows nothing about the terrible crimes. We should note the president.
So Bill Clinton said that he didn't know anything about it. Well, that's a relief.
One's name in the files does not mean they were involved in any way in sex trafficking or having sex with any of Epstein's victims. Here's Alina Habba, now interim U.S. attorney in New Jersey. This is her testimony.
I haven't seen this.
In this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be?
I don't see how it's not.
I'm shocked that none of that's been released. In February this year, Attorney General Bondi teased the imminent arrival of the Epstein files, and President Trump's eldest son, Don Jr., posted about the news. Quote, LFG, an acronym for Let's Effing Go. A week later,
for looking for group, but okay, sure.
Trump administration invited a slew of conservative MAGA influencers to the White House, reporting to give them a first look at a batch of documents labeled the Epstein files, Phase 1, but none of it was a smoking gun. The vast majority of the information had already been made publicly available. CNN's Ed Pettis reported in March that Attorney General Bondi directed FBI agents, in some cases, to drop their work on China and Iran and focus on redacting the files before their release. Remember, Trump made part of this his platform. Here he is during the 2024 campaign.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah. I guess I would. I think that's less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
We got to get somebody in there who just doesn't give a fuck.
Get in there.
Like, I thought, especially after they tried to shoot Trump, like, he would just come in there and just, like, not give a fuck. Just start burning bridges, put Hillary Clinton in jail. Just fucking, like, we gotta get somebody in there that just does not give a fuck. And it's never gonna happen. I am worried that it will never happen. We have to have somebody who is a professional at burning bridges. Maybe that's, if I can think of, there is nobody who burns more bridges and seemingly also, according to these, suck more dicks than Desmond.
Maximum pulse!
Both, actually. I feel like maybe he's the guy. Maybe it's Elon. It's got to be somebody.
So what's really going on? I mean, what's really going on? Well, experts, such as our friend Julie Brown from the Miami Herald, who's been covering Epstein for years, say that the notion of Epstein having an easy-to-access client list is likely a red herring. And that's what the Trump administration is relying on, that there likely isn't a list per se. But they're also now relying on the fact that...
Okay, so in September 14th, 1994, Bill Clinton had sex with an underage girl. Signed Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm gonna find whoever put me out last time.
On September 30th, like, do you really think that's the, like, do you really think that's what it was?
Whoever they are.
Like, it's just, what a bunch of fucking bullshit. Dear Dr. B. Actually, you know what? We're not going to do that one.
Because these MAGA influencers, who often put forward so many falsehoods, legacy news media won't push the point.
That's right. Everybody knows that CNN never misrepresents things.
You're welcome.
Right? Like, whenever you Photoshop Joe Rogan to look like an orc, like a green orc, because he took ivermectin. Remember that? Ooh, that was kind of dumb.
Maximum pulse!
You guys really fucked up on that one, huh?
While there might not be a list, there are certain files that can be released.
Exactly.
There's a trove of information that the Trump administration is right now refusing to share.
He's right.
Information that could well point to the powerful folks who avail themselves of the...
And in my opinion,
maximum
release it. And if it implicates all of these people and it totally fucks up their lives, hey, wow. Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. Too bad. Well, no, good. No. Keep in mind, it will hurt innocent people as collateral damage. It will. Do it anyway. Burn the motherfucker down. When you have an infection, you cut off the entire limb. You can't save each cell individually.
Trafficking victims of Jeffrey.
And this is a fucking infection.
For example, to the FBI's call online.
Your powers are mine!
Thousands of pages. Most of them have been redacted. Of course. Redacting names and identifying characteristics of the victims.
The god of thunder!
It's like a worksheet that I get in art class with all the empty
Extermination! Why not make the victim testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out, there's still so much we don't know from the investigations by U.S.
No, wait a minute. Let me listen to that again. I wasn't really paying attention.
Identifying characteristics of the victim. But why not make the victim testimonies public? As Julie Brown points out,
I don't know. You don't need to do that. That's another stupid thing. That has nothing to do with the problem. You don't need to put out any of the information regarding the victims. That was never the issue. That was never the question. That was never the request. Nobody ever wanted that.
So much we don't know from the investigations by U.S. attorneys in Miami and in New York, witness interviews in the U.S. Virgin Islands and New Mexico. Brown writes there's still more.
Who said their statements? I know that, but their statements were made privately, and by publishing their statements, that could, so you could reverse engineer them explaining what happened to them to create a frame of reference of when it happened, and it could reverse identify them. That's the reason why.
Evidence that hasn't been published.
Just ask them.
Yeah. Epstein tests video cameras in most of his residences, and Epstein's autopsy or the reported investigation into his death has been made public. So while there may not be an official client list to be released, as the administration is now saying, there's a lot of extra information that is not being made public, despite Trump's Justice Department basically now saying case closed. This isn't going to go away.
I think we need to keep putting pressure for this. This is why I'm going to talk about this until I'm either bored or until something happens. Probably until I'm bored, but hopefully until something happens.
Only 60 seconds left.
Pam Bondi went on television. I have a video of kids getting attacked. I followed this closely, and I know a lot of the people involved, as I've told you. I had no idea. I didn't know that. Thousands of children are raped. Who raped them? Where are the rapists? Like, why aren't they in jail? What? This is the Department of Justice. Yes. That is so crazy. This is honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is, in my opinion, this is more sus than 9/11 by a mile. It's more sus than 9/11. It's more sus than Iraq. This is crazy.
And I just think it's very corrupt.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Well, I don't want a revolution, but if you wanted a revolution, this is how you do that.
All right, Jamal, what do you think hearing that from Tucker?
Well, first of all, Tucker is being dangerous by alluding to something like a revolution when we're talking about.
CNN never does that. They never, ever.
The enemy has it all.
MAGA people, because we know that MAGA forces have been violence.
Then why didn't so if MAGA people use violence in pursuit of their political aims, why is it that all of the Teslas got burned down when Elon Musk was on the same page with Trump, but when Elon Musk literally made a public statement implying that Trump was a rapist pedophile, not a single Tesla got burned by any of the MAGA people? Isn't that interesting? That's crazy. What are the odds of that?
Saw it on January 6th. You know, Gretchen said something a second ago.
The original sin. The only sin, by the way. The only point that they can really look at, as this was the last, the one stupid thing that happened 4 years ago. This is like, okay, everything is all based off of that.
But Trump covering for Pam Bondi. But the question also may be, is Pam Bondi covering for Trump?
That's a good one.
We just really don't know. Nobody's very forceful, great television Trump. When the president thing comes up, every time, he's the symbol, attached to the reporter.
He's right about this. Like, what he was saying earlier was bullshit, but he's right about this. Trump, he doesn't do a very good job answering this question.
Release the UFO files. He'll release the JFK files. Will you release the Epstein files? Well, I don't know if we should do that. Innocent people may get wrapped up in it. I just think something's going on here. We got to keep asking the questions and find out what's really happening. And they should just release the file now.
They should.
I mean, right, and that's a good point, Gretchen. At this point, and this is something that has been spun up, right, by some of the very people who are now saying, when Kash Patel and Dan Bongino came out.
This is a great episode of America. You should wait for the season.
Recently, and tried to downplay the Epstein files. They were eviscerated by the MAGA base, right? And now this is putting the whole thing on steroids. Far-right activist Laura Loomer, Gretchen, we know Trump listens to her. She has been hammering Pam Bondi on social media. She posted, "How come we can't talk about what a dumb, lying bimbo Pam Bondi is? JD Vance, please encourage President Trump to fire Pam Bondi. She's a disgrace."
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not judging.
I never wanted to be Iron Man, but it worked out for everybody.
She's not the one that made this decision. Like, I agree that she's ineffective, but she didn't make this call.
What do you hear when you hear this? I mean, look, Laura Loomer, we know, has had very specific...
Why does Bembo come into it? This is just what girls do. It's just what they do.
People want to be led.
Tangible influence on Trump on big decisions.
Yes, in national security, specifically in the last few months.
30 seconds
I do think she has Trump's
ready.
ear. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Trump seemed to be protecting Bondi today, but I think one other really important point is in this second administration, we have seen a lot of MAGA supporters of Trump come out and be totally against him on really big issues. And what I think is fascinating is that he can go after people who are in groups, like lawyers, like members of Congress. I'll primary you if you don't agree with me. But with these single influencers, he's not doing that. And I think that...
because he can't. Like, it's a lot easier. Like, if somebody like me was running for office bringing this shit up, he would be talking shit about it. But he can't do that. It's just some Twitter page. You can't do anything about it.
Raises a huge question about whether or not he has the power to actually silence.
He shouldn't have the power. Like, he doesn't have the power to silence the politicians either. He's just funding his opposition. Like, that's, like, he doesn't have the power. Like, is this some kind of, like, a play? Wow, Trump is such a pussy. He's not taking away people's freedom of speech. What the fuck are we talking about?
Strong together. Is there really no there there? Or is the question, who is covering up for whom?
That is the question. Listen, what is sobering is that Donald Trump, if this were normal times, Donald Trump, he's turned around on Ukraine, and there are people in MAGA who are upset about that. He's in this relationship with Elon Musk, who's now turned on him, he wants to start a party, and so that could maybe peel off people.
We gotta think about that party. I don't know.
There's a lot we could destroy around here.
Somebody said the treasurer from the party was from India, like, right? But, like, in a general sense, like, I do think that Elon is right that the party needs to be changed. I think that he's wrong that you need to make a new party. I think that the Republican Party pre and post Trump are two different parties. I think that you need to rebuild the existing party rather than try to make a third party, because historically, every time that's happened, it's been bad. That's my opinion.
Now you've got the Epstein files, all these things that would normally take down politicians. Donald Trump seems to be able to survive these things. I mean, he's such a political force, it doesn't really matter. But what does happen is the people around him are the ones who catch the brick. And so the question for Pam Bondi is this going to limit her ability to either be an effective attorney general or to even keep her job?
No, she was already being ineffective to begin with.
The attorney general.
Yeah, no, she was already being useless before.
Don't mess with the amazing
Spider-Man! Useless. I think that she's going to continue being useless even without her. Yeah, that's not true at all. The establishment wants you to believe in reform. Nothing ever changes. I think that it's pretty obvious that, like, a lot of the Republican talking points changed after Trump. Whether you like that or not, or agree with that or not, I think it is true. It's definitely true. So a three-party system is botched? Yeah, three parties are the worst. You need to work 5 parties at least. Yeah, I mean, I personally think that Republicans used to care about states' rights, freedom of speech, and the tax deficit. Republicans used to care about a lot of things. Now they don't care about as many things. It doesn't matter. Like, things always change, right? It's always, it's shifting, right? Why does everyone hate her besides the list thing? Because you got these fucking crusty-ass fat kids with blue hair and talking about killing the president.
You need me. Now, disappearing.
Here's how you shoot. Move all you want. I'll just aim where you were.
Enemy tag. All of them. My dad just called me and said that I owe $150 from my tax return because apparently if I just had $10 more taken out of my check every single week, then I wouldn't owe anything at all. And I said, what?
Surprise.
What? I owe money for work. I feel like I'm being watched. I owe money for working because, yeah. And also, Dad, that sounds like a scam. You were telling me that if only $10 more every week came out, then I wouldn't owe the $150. How am I supposed to know that? First of all, how am I supposed to know that? Because of all how do I control this? And why is that a thing? How do you tell your employer, oh, take $10 more out of my paycheck every week so that I don't owe money when my tax return is done? What? What?
Man.
There is no reason to be afraid of my magic.
Welcome to reality, kid. Yep, that's right. They don't teach it in school. Yeah, but I bet she knows what the powerhouse of a cell is.
Be strong together. This is strange. 30 seconds before you attack.
Something ain't right, and damn it, it's time that we find out.
At this point, paying taxes is like a rite of passage into adulthood. You truly don't understand anything about the world until you have to pay bills and pay taxes. It's funny because I got a younger sister that's in Gen Z, and she was all for raising taxes, free health care, student loan forgiveness, and as soon as she seen that money taken out her first check, that opinion started to change.
That's what happened too whenever they had the COVID stimulus money. Is that everybody was gung-ho, oh, let's give these people money, let's let them, you know, let's make it to where they don't have to struggle, like, oh, well, we don't want to let that happen to them. And then whenever Taco Bell was closed, people are like, listen, hey, yo, we're gonna have to work, all right? But I didn't mean it like that. Like, you gotta, look, man, we can't just be giving you money. Like, you gotta work. Remember that? During COVID?
Right. In fact, some of it's going to an entirely different country because our government's proved to be incompetent.
Thank God.
We got a better understanding of what it means.
Thank God. I'll tell you what is that you think that's not what's going to happen? You think the money's not going to other countries? Then tell me why the highest tier of detectory of the tank is one from Israel in War Thunder. Why is it that the highest, most advanced tech tree in War Thunder, the tank is from Israel? Ain't that crazy?
I'm being watched.
Being American. Yeah, socialism is an easier concept to stomach when you're a kid and you're used to your parents just giving you free stuff. But as soon as you gotta start working for that stuff, you understand the actual value of it. This is a real example of that.
Damn.
Here's how much do I owe? You get to figure that out.
My fate isn't
Can I
sealed
just
yet.
pay what I want? No, we know exactly how much you owe. You have to guess the number.
Never miss.
But what if I guessed wrong? Jail.
By the way, you usually don't go to jail if you fuck up your taxes. I fucked up my taxes before. I didn't go to jail. They just send you a letter. They say you need to pay the rest of the money. Yeah, you only go to jail if you do it on purpose. You do it a lot. Like that's really what it is. Like you're trying to like obscure payments. You just pay more. Yeah, you just pay a fine and penalty.
What's wrong with adults living with their parents?
Yeah.
I don't think people understand. Right now, the average amount of money you have to make in order to live by yourself is $60,000. Here, and that is just to cover
Jesus Christ.
Extermination! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
That's not including car issues, right? If you work with
oh my God.
You have to make about $65,000 a year. Meaning you have to get paid over $35 or $40
for
an hour.
taxes.
So if you know somebody that's making you feel bad because you live at home with their parents, unless they are making $40 an hour at their job, they're definitely lying to you about their living situation. They either live in a closet or they have 4 roommates. There's nothing wrong with staying with your parents right now because at this moment in time, the new generation, they can't save any money.
Well, this is only going to get worse. I remember whenever I was like 21 and 22, this is the same thing that was happening. Like, because that was like in the midst of the recession that we had back then. That was like a little bonus recession. Yeah, it was the same exact thing.
I may be powered by chaos.
I think going up is the cost of things, not the actual payment towards their lives.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Yeah, I don't care what nobody say. If you blessed to have parents that love you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with staying home until you're ready to leave.
Obviously
not. People leave home prematurely for multiple reasons. Sometimes it's because of dysfunction, but usually it's just because they don't want to live under their parents' rule. And to be honest, what usually happens is they go and get an apartment, and since they got to pay the rent for the apartment, they go and get a low-wage job because they don't have any job experience because they rush themselves out of the house. They end up spending more time at the job than they do enjoying the freedom away from their parents. And then it just becomes a cycle because those low-wage jobs are only going to pay you so much. So if you got parents, that's a huge advantage. Stay home until you're ready. I have a buddy that's 27 years old. He owns an entire moving company, but he still lives with his parents.
I'm still pretty caustic.
Morgan, I found a foe.
Man, imagine that.
The enemy awaits.
By the time he leaves, he's going to be able to put a 50% down payment on whatever.
What did you think about like inside Chicago? Oh, for real? I think they need to go back where they at. No, we ain't got no trolls.
True, brother. Oh my God.
This place deserves some attention.
Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you don't have to say it.
Where should they go? Shit. Somewhat.
So good. Just telling it how it is, yeah, bro. Like, yeah.
Under my spell.
You didn't have to say it.
Where should they go? Shit. Somewhere. Where's room for them at? Yeah. Back where they at or another little city, but Chicago too back. We already got a lot going on. What do you think about them giving them free hotels, free phones?
That's what I'm saying. They treating them better than real residents. Like, they giving them shit that they ain't give up.
Damn.
In Chicago, they come in giving them 15.
It used to be they were taking our jobs. Now it's we got no houses left. Yeah.
3,000 they name, a DN link, all type of shit. I'm that.
Control lost.
But you got homeless people sleeping on the street. You know, they fucked
up, but y'all bringing people in, treating them better than motherfuckers who from Chicago. I don't like that though.
What's your direct message to Mayor Johnson then?
Man, fix this. Get this shit together, bro.
Man. Fix this shit, yeah. Like, it's not his job to know what to do.
Solid message, yeah, right. Help the city, don't just be out there. Get in that limit, stand on business.
Yeah, allow immigrants to...
It must be his first election that he's been paying attention to. You know, like, damn, so like the dude got in there, he said he was gonna do something that didn't happen. Oh man, first time, huh? Oh.
Come in and then giving them more benefits than Americans that have been paying taxes their entire lives is crazy to me. I'm not sure what the game plan is. I'm not sure if it's for cheap labor. I'm not sure if it's to stabilize the population because we're at a declining birth rate. I was actually talking to my wife about this recently, and this might sound a little bit pessimistic, but this is kind of what I'm
I think we have a declining birth rate because people don't want to have kids because they can't afford it. That's the reason. It's not really that complicated. Like most of the time whenever I see people that are like, oh yeah, we decided not to have kids, or like we're not having kids, the main reason why is because they're focusing on their career, or it's either a direct or an indirect reason that's related to money. Because people mainly focus on their career so they can make money and feel more financially stable. So, like, it's not really that you're career focused, it's that you feel like you need to be career focused in order to have stability for a family. So, like, you see, yeah, daycare costs is a bunch of other shit, right? There's a lot. And so a lot of them, like, I hear this and I see people talking about it, and it's because they simply don't have the money.
Mistakes again.
They don't have the money. Kids cost a lot to be born? Yeah, exactly. I don't want my kids growing up in a dying climate and earth. Yeah, for sure. But like, I think that every single one of them, like, there's money is like a huge factor. Now, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of broke people that have kids, right? But I think that the problem is that the conscientious people, it's almost like, it's like an unironic idiocracy situation, right? Where the people who are the most financially illiterate and irresponsible are having the most kids because they don't understand it. Give me a second, I don't know how that's going. Yeah, what up?
We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
My dad thought I called the wrong person. I think his screen was lagging because he said the reason why people do it too is because they don't have the freedom to like go travel or go do anything. And I think that's also true. It's because also I think the reason for that though is like people that don't have the freedom to do that is because they weren't able to do that when they were young because they didn't have the money. I feel like one of the, like, if you look at, you know, like I've used this example, right, with like, you know, a lot of different ways to get to the number 4. I feel like the number 4 right now is money. And so like people want to travel because they weren't able to do that when they were younger because of money. People can't buy a house because of money. People want to advance their career because of money. Like everything always goes back to money, I think. In almost all cases, not all cases, but almost all.
Maybe they're bringing in immigrants to help with production when it comes to manufacturing bullets or whatever we might need for World War III, or maybe it's just so they can be soldiers in World War III. But either way, if you're the average American, you should be upset because Americans can hardly afford to eat if we're giving our tax dollars to people that aren't even from here.
It's not going, you know what I'm saying? It ain't going, nah, it ain't going to work.
I literally just did my taxes and I owe money. I call my dad, I'm like, did I do this right?